With IRL play back in full swing, it's time somebody talks about the prices of cards. Let's do this. Hello and welcome to Market Watch. Steuben here, and this is something I've wanted to do for a hot minute and I don't really have a lot of time, so let's just get right to it. We're going to talk about the prices of cards on TCGplayer and things that you should keep in mind and things that you should either avoid or look into for the future as things like Astral Radiance comes out and the metagame might shift and change in that direction. So we're going to start off with all the Charizard cards because one, it's a hot take. Honestly, like everybody collects Charizard. Most players get these Charizard cards and flip them to pay for other cards to get lucky and pull them out of your packs. So for example, if you got lucky and you hit the alternate art Charizard V from Brilliant Stars, you're looking at a $200 price point. So happy selling on that one if you're trying to buy one as a collector. Sorry. To note, which is weird, Charizard V-Max over here has been at its lowest, surprisingly, like for light played copies in a hot minute. We have seen some online success for Charizard V Star and V-Max mixed with Arceus V. Something to keep in mind, you might end up wanting to play it. Keep an eye on the price of this. If it continues to drop down thanks to the reprint of the Darkness Ablaze Elite Trainer boxes, it might be worth investing in for sure. Worst case scenario, you buy it, never play it, never does well. It's still a Charizard. Long-term value will basically just sustain it in the end. Next on the agenda, we have the Arceus V cards that go in every single Arceus V variant. And we've got, at all-time lows right now, the Arceus V Star sitting at about $25 on average here. And there's a handful of listings in that range, and also ones that have free shipping that won't even have to worry about pushing it over that mark. So keep an eye on this. They seem to be trending downwards still. As we get closer to Astral Radiance, it may lose some steam here, as there's going to be other V-Stars that people are going to want to start to play. Also to note, too, the Arceus V figure collection box has a release date of the 6th. Today is the 5th, so this should drop down tomorrow. The promo card should become available. The regular Vs are less than $10. I see these going down to $5 potentially, and the promo card, where he's like kind of floating with the Bidoof staring up at him and the Beautifly in the background and all that. I feel like those will probably be in the $10 to $15 range, give or take. I think the alternate art full art is going to continue to climb, while the secret rare and the rainbow rare are going to continue to decrease. Keep that in mind. All right, we have to talk about Mew, as always. Mew V-Max starting to finally come down in value here to the $21-ish, $24 range. These sat around $30, $35 for the longest time, as people are maybe moving away from Mew V-Max and the Fusion Strike decks as a whole. It could be the time to strike. The alternate art, to note, though, has gone up in value a little bit. These did sit around the $50 to $60 range. They're now pushing into $75 territory there. Keep an eye out for that. Just interesting to note, the regular V is only $5. That's been about the same for a while. And of course, we're talking about Fusion Strike. We have Gengar, which for some reason isn't getting a lot of play, other than the fact that, like, it's weak to Urshifu. Dark, is being played in more forms of other cards like Hoopa and Galarian Moltres. But to note, it's weird that the market value of the V here is still relatively $3 to $4 on average, and the V Max is still $15. And I don't get it. Like, normally when something drops off of play this bad, it dips. But if you look, you can see it's slowly starting to trend more back up a few dollars here. So are people going to play Gengar at Indy in Joinville or Bilbao this weekend? I'm not sure. Keep an eye out for that. Whimsicott had a hot finish, second place at the EUIC. We talked about it on the podcast a little bit in Stonks a while ago, but I wanted to follow up that, yeah, the V is pushed out of the under dollar category to over the $2 category, and the V Star is pushing closer to $5 to $6 now on average here, as people are starting to buy it. After you factor in the shipping, you're looking at, $5 to $6 a copy here. It had a big spike, it dipped back down, but it seems to be, stabilizing back up in that price. But as you can see, they were under $3 for a hot minute there. Keep an eye out for that. Duraludon. People are hyping up Duraludon V-Max as something for this weekend. And while I don't think it'll perform, to note, look at the V-Max's price. It's just going down and down and down. And for a while, these did sit, you know, in the $10 range. And now, it's not looking too good for it. Super cheap here. $2, $2, $3, $4. Trying to play Duraludon. Could see success. This will go up in price. Again. So keep that in mind. Got to touch on the Drizzles, of course, about $3 market range. They're down a little bit. It looks like they're going up and up and up and up at the same time, but the fact that there's a bunch of listings here that no one's buying at these new price points makes me wonder if people are starting to shift more to the Bibarel engine compared to this now, depending on the decks that they're playing. Makes a lot of sense. We could see more Bibarel success this coming weekend. And of course, without Drizzile, we got to talk about Intellion. And there's a lot of Intellions, but the quick shooting, to note, you're looking at $2 to $5 on average between these for the foil, the non-foil, and reverse foil. The secret rare pushing $20. So most decks are only playing 1 or 2 of these. If you're trying to bling out, might be the time. And then, of course, the shitty dealings. The holo rare from Sword and Shield is pushing over $2 now. And then the league promo is about $1. The non-foils are about 50 cents if you're lucky. And the shiny is about $10 to $12. So keep that out. Keep in mind out for that. You know, you might want to bling out your cards. All right. So on a more serious note, let's look at Evolving Skies as a whole. This set hasn't had a reprint yet. You occasionally find packs of it mixed in collection boxes and tins and such. But this set is continuously ramping up in price. And it's kind of crazy. The Umbreon has a market price of $334. Yikes. Rayquaza, $224. Leafeon V-Max, $150. Sylveon V-Max, $150. Glaceon, $130. Regular Umbreon V, $95. This is getting insane. Like, look at the prices of the sealed product. A case of 6 booster boxes, $1,000. Build and Battle case of 10 Build and Battle kits, $237. A booster box, $185. Are people opening this set? I don't think so. I think people are buying the singles and stockpiling the alternate art evolutions and Rayquaza and such. And then they're probably buying these booster boxes and just sitting on them. So if you happen to find packs of Evolving Skies, might be worth grabbing them, putting it away. Even if you have like the sealed tins or the ETBs, it may or may not be worth stashing away. Or if you're chasing bling for your deck, I mean, like, the front page ends at $41.99 here on TCGplayer for this set, and yet we go right into more $50 cards and $30 to $40 cards and $20 $25 cards. Like, it just doesn't stop with the set. Like, it just, the expected value that you could hit is insane. And honestly, this set needs a reprint for collectors. It needs a reprint for players. I think with like Gardenia coming out, we'll see more Leafeon V-Max eventually. Who knows what else is going to happen with the future. This set is still going to be in standard even after rotation, so keep that in mind. Alright, so next on the agenda we have the Dark Package. Galarian Moltres. A lot of variety here between the regular version of the little baby boy and the pre-release version of it. To note, like, this has kind of gone up. Somebody's being cheeky here with Direct. Please don't buy these cards at this price. Don't do it. Have some self-respect. Don't spend $10,000 on a holographic rare Galarian Moltres. But yeah, you'll see that even after shipping, they're starting to push past $2. So keep that in mind. If your stores have quarter boxes or rare boxes of like cheaper cards, keep an eye out for this in there. It's definitely worth looking for. The V is starting to push up just a little bit here, over the $2 price point into the $3 range, as more people are starting to put this in different decks and tech with it and experiment that way. And of course, you've got your secret rare pushing $30, your alternate art pushing $100. So just keep that in mind, that the dark package is definitely like here to stay, and to go that route for sure. Next on the agenda here, we have the Hoopa V. And Hoopa V is $1.25 on average here. This is the promo box version. That box you're most likely not going to find out in the wild. But you know, scoop these up. You're looking at maybe about a $2 price point after shipping. Curious to see what the vendors are going to sell these for at Indianapolis this weekend. And if you're going to be there, hey, come find me. I have a whole deck box full of Marie, Flaffy, and Ampharos to sign and give away, and some business cards and all that kind of stuff. Come take selfies with me. Come hang out. If you're interested in meeting up with me, just find me. I'll be playing in the event. That should be a fun time, win or lose. And yep, of course, the full art Hoopa from Fusion Strike's a couple bucks more. So just keep an eye out for Hoopa. I feel like a deck that plays Hoopa this weekend will have good success as it hits relevant weakness on multiple decks. So keep that out there. Keep an eye out for them. If you see those boxes and you don't have them, if you're desperate, snag them. The box is still sitting good at market value for the packs if you really wanted it inside of it. All right, so into the future, we have Gardenia coming out, that basically like a grass water. And I feel like super slept on is Delmize V and V-Max. The Vs, there's so many of them. There's multiple hundreds of listings here, and only a handful of listings for the V-Max. But again, when you look at most Pokemon sellers on TCGplayer, they usually only have one, maybe two copies total. So keep an eye out for that. I could definitely see this card gain in playability and in value when it comes to the future, with that supporter dropping some grass knowledge on us all. So we'll see how that breaks down in the future here for sure. Keep an eye out on this. All right, Victini. Again, I just talked about grass. Grass is weak to fire. Victini's actually really good. Shout out to 9Card TCG, who had me on their channel a few weeks back in their Wednesday webcam wars, and I played with Victini V-Max, and honestly, like, Victini has the same package as Whimsicott in terms of, you know, hammers and fans, and Victini just pure aggression. Just if you set up really well, you're hitting 220 every turn, 220 every turn. 220 knocks out most Pokemon V. So I mean, like, it's really solid. You get a good turn, you're good to go. You play Path, it's really disruptive that way too. You could Path Marty and go that route. I've even considered like shoving a Bibarel line into the Victini VMAX deck, just kind of like take the place that like the Whimsicott deck does, so that you get that turn one attachment. That's super important. So keep an eye out for Victini to go up in value if all the grass stuff continues to rise in value. And of course, without fire, there's not water. Blastoise VMAX is $16 to $17, almost $18. This is kind of wild. Is there a deck that we're not aware of? Are people pairing this up with Arceus? G-Max Bombard here does 220 and then hits their bench 2 different Pokemon for 30 each, which is relevant. If they're not playing Manaphy, that 30 can add up. 230s on top of a 220 knocks out most V Stars. Choice Belt makes this 250 plus the 30s. It's 280. An extra 30s, 310. That knocks out some V Maxes. It hits for some super relevant numbers, permitting that, you know, you can dodge the Manaphy that's floating around. But keep an eye out for Blastoise VMAX. If it sees play and sees success, this price point of $15 to $18, it to the moon, 100%. And of course, we're not going to talk about Blastoise without talking about Venusaur. Venusaur's not doing too well. I don't think it's got a lot going for it, but as a collector standpoint, it might be worth picking it up. Blastoise, Venusaur, Charizard always have value. Always will. It is what it is. Alright, so Mewtwo V Union. This thing is pushing to $18 on average. Kind of crazy. It had a really high run recently, and it's dipped down. But if you look at the listings, it's not far away, other than this one seller with 12 who isn't verified, by the way. It's getting close to super valuable. I've seen a handful of different content creators use this, myself included. I put this with Trevenant V-Max, Trevenant Break and Expanded a while back, and more recently we've seen this with Arceus and all that kind of stuff. And you know, could Mewtwo be good? I feel like it's got that same dark target on its back. Who knows what'll happen with this thing in the future, but definitely keep an eye on Mewtwo's a super popular Pokemon, so if it ever has success, this could turn into a nightmare. Second to last card here is Leafeon V Star. Recently in the late night tournament series hosted by Zach Lesage over on play.limitlesstcg.com, there's been a few of these Leafeon V Star Beedrill decks showing up. And I feel like this just gets better in the future, especially with the Gardenia and the dark Pokemon that are going to start popping up even more that are weak to grass. This can definitely hit some relevant numbers and take some one-shot KOs on those grass weak dark Pokemon. So if this thing sees play, you can see this $3 to $4 price point and jump up a couple bucks. Keep an eye out for it. These promo boxes were one and done. You're not likely going to find these in a store anywhere. So definitely keep an eye out for Leafeon V Star. Put them in your pockets with some Leafeon V-Maxes and Vs, just in case that it becomes a relevant archetype. And the final card to talk about is Professor's Research, the Full Arts. As you can see, this thing has quite the crazy price history, but Professor's Research isn't going anywhere anytime soon in the standard format. The reprints with Rowan keep it in format. They're making a Juniper box for a full art. Those are going to be expensive. They're going to follow that same Marnie route with those Marnie collection boxes. But this is relatively cheap. And there's a bunch of sellers that have multiple copies, like this guy right here. 21 copies at $1.66. Want a little bit of bling for your deck? I recommend this as like a personal choice for you guys out there who just, you know, want a little bit of shiny. And no matter what, like even if you spend, you know, $6, $7 on a playset of Professor's Research, you'll be able to put that in every deck going forward. Not every deck plays Research at 4, but you know, having 4 copies of it doesn't hurt and it's super cheap. But that'll do it for this episode of Market Watch. Let me know down below in the comments section if you like this. Hit it with a like. Please subscribe and ring the bell for more notifications for more Pokemon content. And if you do buy any of these cards on TCGplayer, please use the affiliate link down below in the description. We get a kickback, which helps me create more content for you guys. But again, hopefully I'll see some of you at Indianapolis Regionals, and keep an eye out for more shenanigans here on the channel. See ya.